Are you one of those people who thinks about money and it confuses them? This thing about numbers, thinking about return on investment, percentages, restructuring, all this language confuses you. I want to simplify it in a way that you can be able to understand. If you are visual, you will probably be able to understand it very well. I'm going to use an example of shackles. Yes, shackles, or anything that is imprisoning you. So shackles and imprisonment. And I'm going to explain financial terms in a way that you're going to understand. So some things will put shackles on you. Some things will imprison you. And some things that you will do will move the shackles from your hands, from your pockets, from your mind, from your life. So what we talk about when we talk about financial empowerment and financial things is things that are going to put those shackles away. So let me talk about certain things. When I say that taking loans unnecessarily is not good for your finances, I mean, if you're going to put shackles on yourself, then it has to be shackles that are going to see you generate a return. That you are moving forward faster than the shackles are pulling you back. So if you take a loan for no reason, if you take a bad debt for no reason, you're putting shackles on yourself, shackles on cash that is coming in that has to go out and pay someone else. So that money imprisons you. Remember, money is not evil. But the way we act towards money makes it either good for us or bad for us. It becomes bad for us when it enshackles us, when it imprisons us. It becomes good for us when it creates freedom. That is why people talk about financial freedom. Financial freedom means that you are not shackled, you cannot be able to achieve or do anything in your life because you have constantly to worry about money, about bills that you have to pay, about landlord who will knock down your house, about people who are chasing you for debts, about school fees that you have to pay. You're financially free. You're free to think about other things and pursue objectives and visions that are not generally have to create wealth in terms of cash flow now, but can be able to create value for your life in different ways that are not necessarily cash valued. That is what it means by having financial freedom. So shackles and freedom. So when you earn a salary is limited. So it can be a shackle to you, or it can be a source of freedom. It can be a shackle to you if all that you are making you are using and you are left with nothing. So you are constantly dependent on an employer to give you a salary for you to survive. You are living your life to pay bills. Somehow you are shackled because everything that you are making is going into other people's hands and you have no control over it. You have no control over your time. You cannot take a bit more time off to be able to pursue a certain passion, a certain vision, because your time has to be put into work, because your work generates value for you in terms of money and you have bills to pay. So money comes to you and goes through you and out, and you're left with nothing. You are shackled to a job because you cannot do other things. Then freedom comes in this way. If you're employed, you're employed, but you do not spend all the money that you have. Some of the money you keep to be able to save and invest and generate more cash for yourself. So you're giving yourself more income options for the future. You are making yourself more free, so that if you have kept more than enough for yourself, and if you're generating interest or profit or dividends from what you have invested more over time, enough to pay your bills, then you are financially free, because you do not have to put time, you do not have to work left, right, center, everywhere, engage in office politics, bootlick, and do all these things, because there is something that is generating money and paying your bills. So whether you work or you don't, your bills are paid and you are free. That is how you create freedom. You no longer have shackles. You no longer have poverty. You no longer have things that are imprisoning you. Now let us talk about expenses. Expenses can enshackle you. So you have to determine every time that you have to incur a new liability, a new debt, is it going to create a shackle in my life, or is it going to go towards freedom? So if you're going to buy a big palatial home, these additional expenses, are they going to imprison you or to give you freedom? Have you ever met people with a big home, big palatial home, entering into retirement, but they do not have any cash flow to talk about? Those people are shackled shackled by this big house. They have created a certain image and they cannot move beyond that because they are shackled to this home. All their finances are tied into this asset that is not generating value for them, for their pocket, to meet their needs. If today they are hungry, they will sleep hungry despite having a big home. So it is a shackle to them. But think about somebody who has his assets or incurring expenses or taking money from themselves to be able to generate value for themselves later. They're investing in their business that is growing, that is going to give them a return. This asset that they bought is generating value from themselves. This home that they bought is a small home that is meeting their needs, and the rest they're taking towards investment. They're removing shackles of not having cash flow in the future, entering into retirement without any cash, and they're removing shackles from their children who would otherwise need to take care of themselves. So what is putting a shackle on you and what is giving you freedom? Every time that you sign a contract or a document, you need to ask yourself, is this going to imprison me or is this going to give me freedom? Think about it. When you sign an employment contract, you sign that I am going to work for you 8 hours or this number of days in a month. So those number of days, you're not supposed to do any other things because it is enshackling that time or imprisoning that time for the employer in return for an income. So if you take harsh conditions on and sign against them, you put additional shackles on yourself. For example, if you sign in that you will not take any additional work while you're employed by this person, and if you do, all the money that you make will go to this employer. That is a bad contract. It's putting a shackle on any potential earnings that you might make beyond what you do on a 9 to 5. That is not a contract to do because it is enshackling you. But if it doesn't have that condition, then it is good. If it has that condition, negotiate because you'll have less imprisonment on yourself. So think about these things about money and investment and career as shackles. What are the shackles that you need to get rid of? The idea is to get rid of as much shackles as you can, create as much freedom and flexibility for yourself, looking at the restrictions that you have. Because remember, restrictions are also shackles. They are barriers. They are just a prison cell. While shackles keep you in one place, prison bars keep you in a specific size of place. So your income that you are employed keeps you in a specific area. You cannot be too ambitious because your income is limited to that extent. So what are the things that limit you? The things that limit you are your time. You cannot work beyond 24 hours. Everyone has 24 hours. Your income, this is the money that you earn every single month, and that is why you should be a very good negotiator, because then at least your prison is a slightly bigger. Then you work on creating value that is going to increase your horizon, so your prison bars increase even further. So in the end of the day, you end up having the idea is to have as little shackles as you can, as much land and with less restrictions as you can, and be able to work, not because you have to, you're not imprisoned by your bills, but because you want to, you love your job, you desire your job, the reason why you work. That is the whole idea. So if I have helped you to be able to visualize yourself as a person who either has shackles or somebody who has freedom, or somebody who is restricted to the extent of their prison bars, or somebody who broke down the prison bars because they pursued financial independence. Every time that you book a holiday, ask yourself, is this holiday shackling me or is this holiday freeing me? Are you taking a holiday because you're imprisoned by the expectations of society and people, and not because you want to take time off to refresh, re-energize, and enjoy yourself? Are you doing it because of expectations of people or yourself? When you buy a car and big palatial home, are you doing it because you love a big home, you love this, or because you want to set a certain standard? Because if my friends are doing this, I want to be there. But at the cost of your shackles, you are shackling yourself. Reduce debt as much as possible, and the bigger the interest rate, the thicker the shackles that are keeping you imprisoned. The smaller the shackles, the less the interest that you pay, and the more the money that you are generating for the future. So think about these financial things as imprisonment, shackles, and freedom. And you'll be able to visualize it without even looking at numbers, because we have determined that you don't have to think about numbers, but you have to just visualize about shackles, imprisonment, and freedom. My name is George Kingori, the online finance guy who helps you grow your wealth, keep your wealth, and gain financial freedom. Thank you and enjoy your day.